What's up everybody? My name is Jonathan Casey. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. Today we're going to be comparing the software-enabled variant of Super Steady stabilization on the Galaxy S20 to the hardware Super Steady stabilization on the Galaxy S10 Lite. For those of you that don't know, the Galaxy S10 Lite has a brand new OIS system that Samsung is calling Super Steady. It's supposed to deliver similar results to EIS on other Galaxy devices, but without the issues that come with EIS, like the strange warping or terrible low light results. For those of you that don't know the difference between OIS and EIS, let me quickly explain. EIS is done through software while also utilizing information from your phone's gyroscope. For the most part, it works well, but it has some limitations as well as reliability issues. OIS is done on a hardware level where the sensor or lens optics are made to move around freely to follow the movements in order to deliver a stabilized image. This doesn't depend on the camera's software or device processor in the same way as EIS, so it's not going to have the same limitations. One thing to note is that when EIS works the way that it should, the results can potentially be better than OIS. However, this goes back to the consistency and reliability issues that I previously mentioned, since you honestly never know how it's going to perform. Also, it's important to note that the Galaxy S10 Lite is able to utilize Super Steady OIS even in 4K, ever since the most recent February patch update. At the time of this video, the S10 Lite is the only smartphone in Samsung's lineup that can shoot 4K Super Steady video. To me, this is impressive given that the S10 Lite is a sub $600 smartphone. So with that out of the way, let's test out these two phones and see which one comes out on top. All right, so this is the first test. This is no Super Steady on the Galaxy S20, which the Galaxy S20 is over here on the right, and the Galaxy S10 Lite is over here on the left. I'm just doing a quick little walking test. Usually walking is what trips up Super Steady because it's all done through software. And this gives you an example of what the stabilization is going to look like just without any kind of software enhancements or anything like that. And from what I am seeing, the Galaxy S20 Ultra is looking to be more stable than the S10 Lite, despite the S10 Lite having the new updated stabilization system. So now we're going to progress into a little run here, and we're going to see what this is all about. Another thing to add is that both of these phones are in 4K, so that's why the crop is kind of bad. I'm gonna turn around, run back the other way. All right, so now I have Super Steady electronic stabilization turned on the Galaxy S20 Ultra over here, whereas the S10 Lite is still using the hardware Super Steady. So this is the actual test that I really wanted to see. You could definitely see a difference in the crop here because, again, the S10 Lite is in 4K, whereas the S20 Ultra is now in 1080p because Super Steady is not supported in higher resolutions like Quad HD and 4K. So go ahead and do the walk, and then we'll progress to a run. Usually walking is what trips up the digital stabilization or Super Steady, but from what I'm seeing, it's doing pretty good. One thing I did notice was that even though the S10 Lite is using hardware stabilization, some reason when I was watching the video back, it was a lot smoother than what I'm seeing like in live view. So now let's go ahead and progress to a run. Turn around, run back. All right, so this is the last test in daylight. Well, I'm gonna go into low light and do some more testing here in a minute, but I have Super Steady turned on the Galaxy S20 Ultra and Super Steady software turned on the S10 Lite. So this is not only using the hardware version of Super Steady, but it's using the software version, which is why it's defaulted to 1080p, so the crop is a little less. We're going to go ahead and progress to a run now. And you guys let me know which one looks better to you in terms of stabilization. I know the S10 Lite is doing this weird flicker thing as the stabilization works, which is really unfortunate. Go ahead and turn around. Run back. And yes, I am really, really out of shape. I look like a walrus with some tennis shoes on, trying to run at SeaWorld. All right, so we are in a tunnel, a little bit of a lower lit situation. I'm gonna walk down to the end of the tunnel while I explain what's going on here. So we have Super Steady turned on the S20 Ultra. On the S10 Lite, we're only using the hardware version of Super Steady. And a lot of the times, because Super Steady uses software algorithms, in low light, it gets tripped up, and that's when you end up with a lot of like wobbling and stuff like that. So, I'm gonna run down the tunnel, and we're gonna see if the Super Steady software trips up at all. All right, and we'll run back. All right, so now Super Steady is turned on both phones in terms of software stabilization. So now this is going to be a test on whether or not both systems get tripped up, despite the S10 Lite using hardware and software now. But another thing to keep in mind is that even though the S20 Ultra isn't using Super Steady hardware, it still does have stabilization. It's just not Samsung's newest version of stabilization. All right. Can I get a thumbs up for doing this? Because God almighty, I am out of shape. All right, let's go. All right, run back. Y'all didn't know that Shamu could run, did you? That's that Shamu running for you. Based off of what I'm seeing, the Galaxy S20 retains the better variant of stabilization even when not using Super Steady electronic stabilization. The Galaxy S10 Lite not only is less stable, but it has this weird flickering issue that causes the exposure to change every time there was a sudden bounce in movement. When both phones are using the software version of Super Steady, they both perform great. However, the S10 Lite continues to do this weird flickering issue, which makes the footage almost unusable. In a lower lit situation, the S10 Lite performs slightly better, but not so much because it's more stable. It's more about the footage having less wobbling and pulsing as seen on the S20 Ultra. Even when both software versions of Super Steady are turned on, the S20 Ultra presents more of the wobbling that you get from traditional EIS versus the S10 Lite. I'm definitely happy to see Samsung trying something new here, but I think the Super Steady hardware stabilization on the S10 Lite needs quite a bit of work. It's great for static handheld shooting, and since it supports 4K, you will get a sharper image as you can see. But considering Samsung has given this OIS system the name Super Steady, I think it's a bit misleading. Until they tweak the way the system works, as well as fixing the flickering issue that I was having, it's hard to see this being a newer form of OIS and better versus what's already been implemented on the Note 10, S10, and S20. What do you think of the new hardware-based Super Steady stabilization? Let me know down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. Also, let me know if you want to see a full comparison between these two phones, and I'll definitely get on that. And other than that, I'll talk to you beautiful people in the next video.